Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Jessica and today I will be doing a mid-year wrap. I figured I love watching these videos, so why not do my own? I got all these questions from Sara Carrolli's video last year. I will put the questions in the description. I also will be picking multiple books for most of these questions because it is really hard to just pick one. So let's get started. The first question is, what is the best book you've read so far in 2024? The first one I have is Happy Place by Emily Henry. I know this one came out a while ago, but I finally got around to reading it and I really enjoyed it. I really loved all the characters and I felt like they were really relatable. If you have not read this one yet, I definitely recommend it. The next book I have is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This is the first book I've actually ever read by Abby Jimenez and I definitely want to read more of her. I also really loved the characters in this book and I feel like they were written very well and had good character development. Their flaws just felt really real. I hate when authors make characters seem like they're perfect, and so that's something I really enjoyed about this book, is that they felt like real people. I am really excited to read more by this author. The next question is best sequel of 2024, and for that I have The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. I really enjoyed this series and I feel like a lot of times when you read sequels or other books in the series that sometimes they're not as good as the first one, but I felt like I actually enjoyed this one a bit more than the first one. I'm pretty sure I gave this one 5 stars, but definitely overall this series is just really good. Almost every book in this series was a 5-star read for me, so it was hard to pick between the second one and the third one for this question. I ended up picking the second one. The next question is a new release that you want to read but you haven't yet. And for that, I have The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren and Jack Black Summer by Alyssa Friedman. I definitely want to read these by the end of the summer because they're definitely summer vibes. I've heard good things about The Paradise Problem, so I want to give that one a shot. And I feel like Jack Black Summer just has a really interesting storyline. It actually kind of reminds me a bit of, I think it's called Jackpot by Nick Stone, because they're both about winning the lottery. And Jack Black Summer actually just came out this month. So I think actually maybe both of them did. I don't remember when Paradise Problem came out. I've heard that The Paradise Problem is really good, so I really want to get to that one. I feel like Christina Lauren books are usually a hit or miss with me. I really loved Love in Other Words, but The Unhoneymooners was not my favorite. I have hope that this one is going to be one that I like because so many people have been raving about it. The next question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and for that I have Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors. This book really caught my eye because of the cover. I thought it was really pretty, and so I read the synopsis for it and it seems really interesting. I've heard many good things about this author, but I actually have not read any of her books yet. I'm hoping that this one can get me into more of her books. I'm pretty sure this one actually comes out pretty soon too. The next question is biggest surprise. These are just books that exceeded my expectation. For that one I have Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I didn't really think much of this series. I knew it was well loved, but going into it I didn't really have any expectations. And I think that's kind of better when you go into a book not really setting you really high bar for it. I ended up really enjoying this in the series. It also got me out of a reading slump. So if you're in a reading slump, I highly recommend this book because it's pretty quick paced and I got through it really quickly. The next book I have for this question is Dance of Thieves by Mary Ear. The next book I have is Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. This book has been on my TBR for a really long time and also on my shelf for a really long time. I think I've had this book actually for over a year and I don't know why I never started it. I think I was just intimidated by it because it's a fantasy and it's a little bit of a longer book. I was really scared because sometimes fantasies kind of put me in a slump because they're so long and they take a little bit while to get into, especially although world building kind of just has a slower start to it and I feel like sometimes it could be confusing for the first few chapters, but I'm really glad I finally picked this one up because it was really good. I don't remember, I either gave this 4 or 5 stars. I think I landed on 4. I really love the characters. It had a really good plot and it was really well written. By the end of the year, I definitely want to read the second one, Vow of Thieves. I would definitely categorize this one more of like a romance fantasy. So if that's what you're in the mood for, I would recommend picking this one up. The next question is your favorite new author. I actually have a few of these because there's so many popular authors that I didn't get into until this year. One of them being Abby Jimenez, and I've only read one of her books, but I feel like I can already say that she's one of my favorite because the writing of that book was really good, and I've heard that her other books are just like that one. So by the end of the year, I definitely want to have read most of her books. To me, her writing style kind of reminds me of Emily Henry. I feel like that's because it's not just romance. I would consider Emily Henry kind of literary fiction almost, just because she has so much going on in her books besides romance. There's a lot of subplots going on. There's a lot of other themes besides romance. And that's how I felt about Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. Having those other themes in the book besides the romance really will make it a 5-star read for me. The next author I would say is one of my favorites is Stephanie Garber. I read the entire trilogy of Once Upon a Broken Heart this year. I actually think I read it within a month, but it was really good and I loved her writing. I loved the characters. The plot was well-rounded. I don't know if I'll read Caravel. I definitely want to save that for the fall-winter season just because I feel like they're more of cozy reads, and since it's summer, I want to read a lot of summer books. The next question is a book that made you cry, and for this one I have Reading List by Sarah Nisha Adams. This book was just sad. I definitely did not cry during the entire book. It was just this one event that happened that really got me. I won't spoil it, but it was definitely like maybe this much into the book. This part. I just cried like the whole time. I'm really into literary fiction. I feel like this might be your read, but this was not my favorite book just because it was super slow in the beginning. It was kind of hard for me to get into, but it did make me cry. I also can't remember, but I think The Happy Place also made me cry. I'm not 100% on that one, but I think it did. Other than that, I don't think there's a lot of books that made me cry this year. I feel like I've read a lot of more happier books this year. The next question is a book that made you happy. I really like this question. I think a lot of times people talk about books that made them sad or made them cry, but I feel like we don't talk enough about books that we just really made us happy, you know, just had a smile on your face while reading. And for me, that was Betting on You by Lynn Painter. Honestly, any of Lynn Painter's books just make me really happy. They're really rom-com-y, they're light-hearted reads. I really like listening to Lynn Painter's books as audiobooks. I remember when I was reading this book, I'd listen to it while I was walking to class, and I'd sit there and it would just make me happy. Yeah. The banter between the characters. Something I've noticed in Lynn Painter's books is that her characters are just really funny. Between heavier books I read or like fantasy books that are more intense, I like to read books like Lynn Painter's books or just light-hearted books to switch things up a little bit. The next question is most beautiful book you have bought so far. For this one, I'm gonna have to say Real Americans by Rachel Kong. I just picked up this book this month and I think it's really pretty. I love all the colors and the different pictures. This is what it looks like. And then the spine's also really pretty. I haven't read this one yet. I'm hoping to read it next month. The next question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? For this one, I have a few. Actually, probably more than a few. First up, I have The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I read Babel, and I really love that book. It's definitely one of my all-time favorite books, so I'm really looking forward to this one. I kind of just wanted to save it for more of the fall season. I for sure have higher expectations for this one just because I really loved Babel, and I'm hoping that I love this one around as much. I probably won't love it as much as I love Babel. I want to reread Babel also later this year, but I'm very excited for this one. I also have A Court of Thorn and Roses, the series. I have yet to start it. I bought it last month, I think. I actually want to do a reading vlog with this one, so I'm really looking forward to it. I've heard so many good things about this one. I want to read them all by the end of the summer, but realistically, I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I at least want to start the series. And last but not least, I have Funny Story by Emily Henry. I know this book came out a while ago, but I have yet to pick it up. This might sound crazy, but I actually haven't picked it up yet because it hasn't come out in paperback yet, and all of my books by Emily Henry are in paperback, so I kind of just want them all to be in paperback. I also feel like paperbacks are just easier to hold than hardcovers, but I'm just waiting for that one to come out in paperback before I read it. It actually comes out in paperback really soon, so fingers crossed I read that by the end of the year. Well, thank you for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Please let me know in the comments below your favorite book you've read so far in 2024. I'm really excited to see what the rest of 2024 holds. I'll see you next time.